Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. I'm checking in from Minneapolis, just arrived. A lot of 49er fans. You'll probably hear me say that a lot this season if I post updates from the road. Flew in from San Francisco. A lot of 49er fans on that flight in, and then just coming to my hotel room downtown. A lot of 49er fans, a lot of red out there. Now, the 49er fans who will be going to the game on Sunday will not, of course, see Christian McCaffrey. He was ruled out on Friday. On Saturday, the 49ers make it official. They put him on injured reserve. That calf and Achilles tendonitis just giving him problems. He had a very much an uncomfortable practice on Thursday. So he is going to be out for the next four games, at least the next four games. 49ers clearly just want to get this thing under control. I don't think, as optimistic that he was, and he did share his feelings on the mindset of just approaching the practice week like you're going to play and then see how the body reacts later in the week. And then the determination is made. Well, the determination was made after that Thursday practice that he simply could not play this game, nor would it be wise for him to play any of the next four games. So he goes on injured reserve. The 49ers did not make a corresponding roster move, so they're not going to bump up anyone from the practice squad to take McCaffrey's place on the 53-man roster right now. And the reason for that is anyone they would have brought up from the 53-man roster would not have played in this game anyway. So there's no reason to do that. And also, the 49ers did make a move to bring up Tracy Walker, veteran safety from the practice squad. That's a standard elevation. The reason they did that was because they could. No reason to move him up to the 53 man quite yet, but it is a sign, obviously, that Talanoa Hufanga will not be available for this game. So it looks like, again, George Odom as the starting safety alongside Jair Brown, Tracy Walker, and Malik Mustafa are the backup safeties for the 49ers. So going back to McCaffrey, without him in the lineup, that means Jordan Mason. Probably a lot of Jordan Mason, as well as a little bit of Deebo Samuel. And don't be surprised if this game that they sprinkle in Isaac Guerendo. Yeah, I'm just thinking back to when the 49ers selected Guerendo, getting him in the fourth round of the draft. This is a guy who started his career at Wisconsin, was never a starter, went on to Louisville, wasn't a starter until the starting running back opted out of the bowl game, and then he's the starter. And think about Jordan Mason, a guy who was a starter at Georgia Tech for 2 years. And then Jahmyr Gibbs comes along. He's no longer the starter. So those two guys are the main running backs for this game. And Guerendo did get on the field for three snaps in the opener, but didn't get any touches. But going back to when they drafted him, at that point, it almost seemed superfluous to have another running back that you draft. Now, the 49ers have not had great success in drafting running backs, especially in those middle rounds, the third round. When you think about, well, Joe Williams back in the 49ers first draft under Lynch and Shanahan, and then Trey Sermon and Ty Davis Price. Those guys just never worked out. 49ers have had better success with the lower round guys or the undrafted rookies. Guerendo, when they got him, I really didn't see an avenue for him to even suit up for games because at that point they had McCaffrey, they had Elijah Mitchell, and they had Jordan Mason. And Guerendo wasn't going to leapfrog over any of those guys for a spot on the roster unless there were injuries. And of course, there was an injury with Elijah Mitchell. He's out for the season due to a hamstring injury that needs surgery. Also, McCaffrey getting injured on one of the first days of training camp, first week of training camp. He goes down with the calf injury, the Achilles injury, and he missed basically a month of practices and returned to practice last week on a limited role and inactive week one, and then injured reserve week two. So Guerendo is a guy that I think they're starting to gain a little bit more confidence in him after he missed all of training camp, didn't get out there much at all. So maybe they can mix him in a little bit. I just don't know this early in the season how much they want to rely on Deebo Samuel as far as putting the ball in his hands and having him take some, I guess you could say unnecessary hits. So this matchup, it is interesting to see, how this game's going to turn out on Sunday. Brock Purdy, we talked about the challenges of facing a Brian Flores defense and the late rotations and everything else. The the Vikings also have Harrison Smith in the defensive backfield, and this is a guy that leads all active players in the NFL with 35 interceptions. So he's going to be somebody that is really going to be ball hawking and looking to create confusion back there and try to pick off Brock Purdy. Purdy was picked off twice in that game last year. Now, granted, both of those came after uh, he sustained the concussion on the fourth down or on the quarterback sneak. So Harrison Smith, a key for the 49ers for Purdy to kind of win that chess match with him. I also talked about Colton McKivitz. McKivitz at right tackle will probably see a lot of Dallas Turner, first round draft pick, as well as Jonathan Greenard. And he's a guy that comes over from the Houston Texans, where he had 12 and a half sacks last year, parlayed that into a big contract. So 49ers offense at a bit of a disadvantage because of the crowd noise at US Bank Stadium. So they just have to move the chains. They have to be able to get the running game going a little bit with Jordan Mason. We'll see how teams try to game plan against him. And then, of course, in the passing game, spreading the ball around. It is a big factor not having McCaffrey out there on third downs as an easy pitch and catch, a guy who can, pick up a 3rd and 5, a 3rd and 6 with a choice route out of the backfield that Purdy can just kind of lock into him. So now there's going to be more emphasis defensively on third downs on Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, and George Kittle. So those are some of the things we'll be looking at for this game as the 49ers look to go 2-0 on the season against the Vikings, who are now 1-0. They're looking to go 2-0. Defensively, I think the 49ers will get after Sam Darnold, and I think they're going to make life especially difficult on him. You hear the guys in the defensive backfield feeling very confident about this game. Darnold, 57 career starts in the NFL, 57 interceptions. So there will be opportunities for the 49ers defense to make game-changing plays. And this time, they want to be sending Jake Moody out for extra points, not field goals. 6 field goals in the season opener, including a couple of plus 50-yard kicks for him. 49ers want to get into the end zone more. They might have to in this game. I think the Vikings offense at this stage is probably better than the Jets offense. And Nick Bosa said as much this week, talking about what he expects to see from the Vikings. So that's it from here. That's it from Minnesota, from downtown Minneapolis, where the 49ers face the Vikings on Sunday, and they'll be doing it without Christian McCaffrey. They won't have him for the foreseeable future for at least 4 games. And we'll see how the 49ers are managed to compensate for the loss of the NFL Offensive Player of the Year, the guy who finished number 3 in the MVP voting, and all of that. So anyway, thank you so much for tuning in, and please subscribe, like, comment, and we'll check in probably after the game on Sunday. Thank you.